everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining us on our little adventure with the 2021 Royal Enfield Continental GT 650. What we're going to do today is something a little different. I know a lot of people have said, like, one of the beauties with having the Royal Enfield is the availability and affordability of parts, factory parts that you can change your bike up and make changes and do whatever you want. It's incredible. So we're going to give the bike a bit of a makeover today. I've had the Ice Queen here for coming up on 2 years. This is my second season riding the bike, and I just want to change things up a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to change from the Ice Queen, see here, to the Mr. Clean tank and touring. I think it's the touring or the premium touring single solo seat and cowl. I've purchased both of these, both the seat and cowl and the tank, you see here, from eBay, from a seller by the name of Royal Rider. Shipping wise, the tank came in about 8 days by DHL. The seat and cowl took closer to a month, but it came by regular post, so there was no duty on it. It was great. DHL dinged me for about $40 extra, which was a bit of a pain, but you know, whatever. Cost-wise, again, one of the beauties of the Enfield, I think the tank was around the $300 range, and the seat and cowl was about $100. So it's incredibly easy and cheap to upgrade your bike. What we're going to do is we're going to show you how to transfer over the fuel pump and fuel sending unit from the Mr. Clean tank onto the, from the Ice Queen tank onto the Mr. Clean tank. Now, just to comment about eBay, a lot of people I've seen online have said that the stuff that's sold on eBay, and this is probably said by dealers that, disgruntled dealers or whatever, are pissed off because people don't buy from them. They say all you get on eBay is seconds and everything else. I've never experienced that. Everything I bought on eBay is first quality, first class, no problems, no issues with it. So just to alleviate anybody's fears, I picked this up, like I say, for about $300. It's a brand new tank. Bought both from Royal Rider on eBay. No issues with it. They're all first quality things. So what we're going to do to keep the theme, of course, and keep the Cathay fairing, is I'm going to take this fairing off and going to take it into a shop, and I'm actually going to have it wrapped. I don't want to mess up with the paint. I don't want to have it repainted, so I'm going to wrap it in a gloss black. This way, down the road, if I decide to go back to the Ice Queen, which very well might happen, I'd like to change things around every couple of years, I can just peel the wrap off and the paint will be preserved underneath. So what we're going to do is take the fairing off, take it into the shop, have it wrapped. Once that's done, I'm going to come back and then we'll start the process of changing everything over. So yeah, stay tuned. Thanks again for watching. Alright, so we've got the fairing back from the wrap guy. Did a really nice job. He's charged $100 to wrap the fairing. Not bad, not bad. Better than painting it, or not better than painting it, I don't think, but reasonable price. Nice job too. Now, first thing we got to do here is take the tank off. So I've already taken the seat off, side panel seats. Hopefully you guys know how to do that. Now it's just a couple 10mm bolts. Thing that I will say that you should do if you're changing your tank over is run it down to as little gas as possible. If you have it flashing, your last bar flashing, makes it a lot easier to transfer the tank over. I've still got 2 bars on the bike, so it's going to be a little heavier. I'm not sure how much gas is in the tank, but anyways, what we got to do is prop it up a bit. Ordinarily I got a block of wood. 2x4 usually works really well, but I don't have one handy right now, so I'm just going to use this little toolbox. You've got an overflow line and a vacuum line underneath the tank here. So we've got this is your fuel pump electrical line. So we're going to take that off. This is the, I'm not sure, I think this is just the vacuum line, and the other one is the overflow line over here, which drains out onto the ground, but that just pops off like so. Now I'm just going to reach up, if you want to reach up inside and click the, pull back on the tip, and there the power line pops right out. Now moving further up into the tank, first we're getting down here where it attaches to the fuel rail. Push the button in. So onto the fuel rail here. Push in on this little piece. And that will up. Bit of gas, but that's to be expected. Now we also have underneath is the fuel level. Your fuel gauge sending unit. Again, on this one. More of it once I've gotten it out. Basically, there we go. On this one, this little green tab here, you just push that in and then separate them. So now the fuel tank is free to come off. Again, just picks up. There you have it. That's the one fuel line there. A lot of times people will take off this one as well, which you can take it off, which makes it a little easier if you separate this one first and then this one, but either way, that's it. So now what we've got to do is transfer over the fuel sending unit for your gauge, as well as the fuel pump assembly. That has to come out, go into the new tank. It would be easier if I had purchased a fuel sending unit and a separate fuel pump, but honestly, I'm not really too concerned about it. I'm only going to do this probably maybe once a year, if that, so not such a big deal. So we'll set this stuff up and we'll be right back with you. Don't smoke while doing this. So, by tipping the tank upside down, I wasn't able to pour out all the gas because there's a lip on the inside of the filler neck that wouldn't allow all the fuel to come out. So, it's going to have to come out through the back, which might get a little messy. So, it's I think it's a 3mm Allen. Let's get these guys off. One of the important things you have to be careful of when doing this is there are two O-rings inside. So I'm going to take it out as evenly and cautiously, I suppose you could say, as I can. So get all of these bolts out. Making note of, getting some gurgling out of the overflow. I guess that's pressure changes. Good to know that if you ever were to fall over with a bike, it's not going to leak because the cap does seal very well. So now, this is the retaining ring. See, I just want to take it up nice and slow so as not to have any issues. This guy's attached. Okay. There we go. Okay, so there is the one. There's the one O-ring you can see here. That's the outer one, and this small one is the inner one. Now, from what I understand, part of the difficulty is that this inner one, I don't want to stretch it at all, has to set down over top, like so. So we'll figure that out when we go to reinstall this. But right now, I'm just going to take the larger O-ring, set these aside, and now I'm going to try and dump the rest of the fuel out, and then we'll remove the sending unit. So, using a 10mm socket, take out this flange holding bracket as a washer. Set these nuts to the side. I noticed that they do have some form of a Loctite stuff on it, so I'm not sure what exactly that is, but it seems almost putty-like. But I'll put a bit of Loctite probably on it. So here we go. This is your fuel tank sending unit float. So when this sets in your tank, it floats up and sends the signal to your bike. So it actually sits down on the sits like that, forward the arrow there, so it's obviously on this side, and yeah, it just bobs up and down, gives you your reading. The gasket that goes with it. So I'm just going to set this to the side for a minute. Take the gasket, pick it off, making note that sort of the double bump here faces the tank, and the single faces the float. Alright, so got everything off of the Ice Queen tank, and we're going to put it on the Mr. Clean. So, our fuel tank sending unit, we're going to put that on first. Again, the gasket with the two lips on it here faces the tank, so that just sits in like so. Now, to get the float in, we're going to have to sort of manipulate things around so that it ends up going around and then coming down and dropping onto this side of the tank. So, again, the arrow facing forward. It's got a bit of a bend to it as well. If you notice this, I don't think it's unusual. It's supposed to be there. Anyways, just slide this guy down, twist it over a bit, get the next elbow in, and set it down like so. Again, the bolts. These two bolts on it. These guys up some. Now I couldn't find any torque value for these ones. I found for the fuel pump flange it was 44 inch pounds. Inch pounds. So I've set my little torque wrench to that, and that's what I'm going to do in terms of torque. There's no sealant, as far as I can tell, needed on these as well, so I'm going to tighten them up in a crosshatch pattern, hopefully make it go down nice and level. fuel pump. I guess we might as well just jump right into it. There is an inner O-ring that sits just inside the lip here. This is the one that came up from the other side. So it's a bit finicky, but I'm just going to set it down. I'm hoping to do this without having to stick it in there with anything, but there's a bit of gunk there. Get rid of that fluff off of that blanket. So it feels like it's almost oversized. I'm sure it's not, but it's probably just swelled a bit from the gas. So set that guy in there like that. Okay, now the other O-ring ends up sitting right on the outside here, but it'll set into this groove in the fuel pump mounting flange, so like so. Now this one may be a bit more difficult to keep in place. There are little indentations on the fuel pump flange, I'm assuming, that are there to hold the O-ring in place, but again, I'm not 100% sure that. Let's see here now. Yeah. This side didn't stick in yet, so just take your time with this. Fit it into the grooves there. I've read also online that these aren't quite so readily available at dealers, so if you have a source for them other than Royal Enfield, feel free to put it down in the comments and I'll share it with everyone just in case they muck one up, which I'm hoping we don't do. Okay, so now still some gas coming out that line. Again, that O-ring seems to be in place. So make sure you push the fuel strainer. It'll settle down like this when it's sitting in the tank, but as it goes in, you've got to fold it down a bit. So again, that's your fuel pump assembly. Everything's good there. The O-ring looks good. Just drop it down like so. Get our Allen bolts back in. Okay, so as I was pushing it down, I wasn't getting the pump wasn't in quite far enough, so just when you're sure that it's centered and the gasket's not buggered up, just push it down a bit. That'll help seat the fuel pump in there, in the tank, and then just slowly. Okay, so we've got the bolts are starting to get tightened down. Again, 44-inch. Thing is torque down to 44. I always think I've forgotten, but it doesn't look like we have. So there we go. So oops. This line goes on. Goes on back onto the flange. Everything's held in place as it should be. There we go. Okay. Oh, and now I'll And what I'm going to do as well, I should mention, is with the old tank, I'm going to spray the inside of it liberally with WD-40 and then tape up all the holes, just using some packing tape. I'll put it all on here just to seal it all, keep any humidity out of there. I want to keep the tank as dry as possible and as rust-free as possible, because the last thing you want, of course, is rust in your tank. If these rubbers don't pop in smoothly, you can always lube them a little bit with a bit of WD-40 or silicone spray. But they seem like they're limber enough that they'll go in. Rotate it and push it down. There we go. Okay. It's coming. Okay, now we're going to go back and reinstall this on the bike. Okay, so one of the finicky ones to get on, I don't know if you can see it or not, underneath here is the fuel tank gauge level. There we go. In place. The vent on this side. Checking to make sure I've got everything okay. Yeah. The main fuel line going into the fuel rail here. The injectors. This way. Push it down until you get that. Click like that. Again, back over onto this side. Tank a little bit, so that the line can go up and on like it should. Now our last connection is the fuel pump. Let's just get that up. Like so. So that should be all of our connections for the tank. Before I go any further, one thing that I want to do is I want to just turn the ignition on and cycle it so that I can hear the fuel pump priming. Just in case I've messed up on something this way. So if we listen as I turn it on, we should be able to hear the fuel pump starting to prime. That's the sound you want to hear. Good. Okay, so the fuel pump is priming. Okay, so we'll attach the two bolts that hold the back of the tank on. Okay, got the fairing installed back on. Tank's all good. Put a bit of the gas back in there just in case it was still leaking. Now we're just going to turn the seat. New seat. Jury's still out on the red stitching on the seat, but it's how it came from India, so let's just see how this guy goes. There we go. Got the solo seat. All right, so there we have it. We should probably start her up. Lots of reflection happening now compared to before. There we go. that is how to change the look of your Royal Enfield, totally change the look of your Royal Enfield, with minimal cost. Honestly, at the end of the day, solo seat was, I think, $100. Tank was about $300. Fairing to get it rewrapped was $100. That's going to be less than the tax on a new bike if you were to, get tired of the look and want to change it and go upgrade to a different bike. Yeah. So, once again, guys, thanks for watching, liking, subscribing. Hope you got some good information out of this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up, please. And yeah, any suggestions, put them in the comments. We love reading your comments, and hope that everything's going well with you guys. I'm not sure how many more videos we'll have this year because season's kind of wrapping down, and not sure what else we can do actually with the Enfield, but there's always room for improvement and some little projects. So once again, thanks for tuning in. Lost Together Forever. And yeah, thanks guys. Keep the rubber side down, and we'll talk to you again. Bye.